It's not really great for your body. Most of the time, the balance of a diabetic diet teaches us all to balance things out. So it really isn't just what you eat, it's when you eat it. And I think we lose some of that when we're teaching people. So it's like they need to eat breakfast at the same time in the morning. So when they want to sleep in, that's dangerous for them. You know, if they get up really early, they've changed something here. So they need to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, and their snacks in between, basically at the same time every day, which is really a difficult task. And then not only do they need that, they need to eat specifically what they were told in the balance. Now they can pick and choose all kinds of foods from the groups, but the balance needs to be there. And when that balance goes off, then your sugar balance leaves, then your insulin needs change. Now, if you're just on oral diabetic medication, you're probably going to be okay. But the more you slip up on this diet, the sooner you're going to hit the insulin place. You know, so you would like to keep, you know, if you have to take anything, the pills are a nice way to go. And what they're doing basically is just kind of kicking your pancreas there and saying, come on, give me that insulin I need. You know, so it just kind of gives it a boost. And you're still working. Your insulin's still going in there, and you still have it. And you want to keep that balance as long as you can. The other most important thing that a diabetic can do, and which you can help someone do, is to lose weight. It's our obesity that gives us that diabetes. And we're just one obese country. It's becoming more and more of an epidemic. Even in our children now, we're diagnosing children with type 2 diabetes at a very young age that we've never seen before. And so we're now opening new clinics for them. We're going to imagine what will be like for them as they age if we don't care for that. So the diabetic diet is doable. It's not easy. I wonder sometimes if I could pull it off myself, but can be done. And there's a lot of support out there. The American Diabetics Association has wonderful information and assistance and support for anybody who needs more information on that. The next special kind of diet is low fat. And I think that's probably one of the ones that's been out there over the last 10 years, and everybody's worried about their fat intake. We're cutting the fat off of meats, we're taking it off the chicken, we're taking the skin off, we're eating, we're watching, we're reading, everything is low fat. And if you go to the grocery store, you can pretty much live on processed food that's low fat. I mean, everything is amazingly low fat. Even I've seen a cheesecake that's labeled low fat. I mean, that was just insane. I mean, right? Well, it was made out of cottage cheeses, and it was, you're like, what's the point? So low fat is out there. What you need to realize is what type of fat it is. So looking at the pyramid and remembering your nutritional needs, you need to look at the type of fat. And any of you have had your cholesterol drawn, then you know that we talk about fats and cholesterol's in high and low densities. Which one's good, which one's bad. The same thing as when you're buying fat. Some are good, some are not so good for you. Not that anything probably that you could buy would be bad. It's how much you're taking in on a daily basis that you really want to watch. Again, balance is everything. So low-fat diets, yes, you want to control some of the fat, but it doesn't mean you want to never take fat in. I know people who just don't even take any fat. That's not healthy either. The body needs that fat, needs those nutrients, needs the minerals. So now we're hearing some of that balance, I think now. They're talking about the omega-3 fatty acids. Those are great for you. Eat the fat that's in fish, eat the fat that's in flaxseed, eat the fat that's, and those are good. But they can be found in other ways too. Another special diet that we see are liquid diets. Now, I think when I say that first, people think of Slim Fast. I mean, a liquid diet in a can to lose weight. But we use liquid diets for people who can't chew. or for those patients who are getting tube feedings. Now, some can live on tube feedings alone. We can do that because they're totally unable, not just to eat, but to chew. They can't chew, or they have some type of difficulty swallowing, or some esophageal or stomach problems, or maybe their stomach's been removed and we're feeding them right into their intestine. So liquid diets are a must for those. When you talk about liquids, there's different types of liquids. And so the first one we talk about is if you were on a clear liquid diet. Basically it means, can you pick it up and look, can you see through, is it clear? And so that's the rule of thumb for a clear liquid diet. We will allow some juices without pulps to be kind of, quote, clear, like a cranberry. It could be a clear liquid. Apple juice could be kind of on a clear. It just depends if they tolerate those juices. But broth, so when someone comes back from a surgery or they're just starting to eat, if they've been ill, we always say start them off on clear liquids, and we usually start them off on water. If you have to, take a tablespoon, pour a tablespoon of water on it and give them the tablespoon. See if that stays down for 15 minutes. Repeat it. As they get better, you can get more. But clear is that way. Then they get you graduate, I don't know if you remember, from broth, and Jello is considered a clear liquid, even though it gels. It starts off as a liquid. Then we get you graduate to full liquids. And a full liquid then would conceive things that have a thicker consistency and things that have more of a milk base. So then they could have milk, pudding, soups that are creamed instead of just broth. And they could, from clear to full, and then to any type of liquid, they can have that. And those are almost considered pureed. But pureeing means we can put just about anything in the blender and liquefy it. So you could take chicken and blend it and make it a liquid kind of meat. And we do that a lot. For people who can't chew and they want those types of foods, then we can blend them. Now, some younger people will do that in their life if they've had their jaw broken or if they've had a large surgery done and they're braced for 6 weeks, so their mouth is just together. Then they need to drink liquids for 6 weeks and suck them up through the straw. And they'll start to blend a lot of stuff and see how it tastes. So they will do that. There are commercially made liquid diets that have taken in the food pyramid, all the nutrients, all the vitamins, everything. And if it's not in there, we can just add it liquid-wise, and we can administer that. So people do actually just live on liquids. It is possible to do. The next step up would be a mechanical soft. And you'll see that a lot of elderly people may need that. They want their foods, and they want the enjoyment of sitting at a table and having a meal. They just can't chew it anymore. Some, quite honestly, don't. They've lost too many of their teeth, and they haven't had them replaced with dentures. Or their dentures don't work properly. As you age and you lose weight or gain weight, your mouth changes. People don't think it does, but it will. And if they're not properly fitted, or they don't want to use the bonding in them, and so they click a lot, so they're trying to chew and the food's going all over the place. If they don't put them in, even if they stay the same weight, they don't put them in every day and use them, they'll lose alignment. So if the dentures just sit at the bedside and they don't want to put them in, for whatever reason they don't want to put them in, they will eventually not fit well, and then they won't be able to use them. So another thing to encourage is to put them in and do the oral care every day, twice a day. They should get that. And we forget what it's like sometimes to not brush their teeth. And people, as they age, tend to have an aversion to you messing with their mouth. They want to do it, they don't do it well enough. You want to get in there and scrub it. Try to find that place where you can both agree on that and get that done. And get those dentures in their mouth so that it will stay aligned to their gums. And then they will be able to use a mechanical soft. So what kind of things would be mechanically soft? Well, just that. Anything that's kind of mushy. If they really have to bite it, so you wouldn't give them a steak unless you really just pounded it and really made it soft. It's almost kind of the same thing. What would you give a child who's just getting teeth? You would give the same kind of foods. It's a substance. It's what it feels like. It's mechanical, that they have to chew or not chew. So if there's a lot of chewing that goes along with it, they don't get it. So on mechanical soft. And then the next step up would be a soft diet. Literally just another step up from mechanical soft. So again, paying attention to how much do they have to chew to swallow, to safely swallow. I think that's when we get to that in a couple objectives, we'll talk about even doing a Heimlich maneuver. But you want to be concerned with safety here. They may want something, they may beg you for it. If they can't chew it and they try to swallow it without chewing, you're going to get a choking person next to you. We all do that when we're in a hurry or we're not thinking. Even an average healthy person could choke. But we're setting up our elders for choking if we're not paying attention to their diet. Okay. So what could we do? Find out, what do they like? And like I said, most of us, that's the beauty of taking care of someone at home, is that we already know their likes and their dislikes. Now, sometimes my mom would slip my dad something that was good for him instead of what he liked. And, he would argue that, but she could get some of it down, because she told him, this is good for you, you need to eat it. And their relationship let them do that. Now, if yours lets you do that, go for it. But if not, you're just going to be cooking stuff that's going to get tossed. So you don't want to do that. But don't let that person get their diet so narrow and so small that they're not getting all their nutrients again. So sometimes we can get on kicks and they'll only eat this. You'll hear people say that he'll only eat this and this and this and this. Okay, well, you want to give them that because we have so much attached to food and comfort that we want people to eat. And when they don't eat and they'll only eat, chocolate pudding, we find ourselves going out and buying chocolate pudding by the case, because that's the only thing they'll eat. But it makes us feel good that they're eating. They like it, but if we can get that, even if we could mix it with something, that would be more helpful than just giving them chocolate pudding with nothing in it. So there are a lot of chocolate flavors out there, so you can find a lot of like Ensures and supplemental calorie intakes that are all kinds of flavors. And maybe you could put that in the blender with ice cream or with a thickener and make it into something a little bit better than just giving them a dessert. As I'm on that, I can take this water and make it as thick as pudding. Just water. And so there are these supplements out there now that will thicken anything, and that's pretty much, they have the word thick in them. So the one I use all the time is called Thicken, and it looks like sugar, quite honestly. It's just a white granule, and if you put it into anything liquid and stir it, it will turn thick, kind of like you're making your own cement. And we have found through researching that people who have difficulty swallowing or any kind of mechanical problem with food will choke on thin liquids. So when they want their cup of coffee in the morning, or I want them to drink their 8 glasses of water, this minute I get anything in there, they start to choke. So thin liquids are difficult to take in. So we lose control because they go down so quickly and so easily. What you want to do is thicken them, and then they have more control of their swallow. So you can hold thicken things in your mouth with more control longer than you can liquids, thin liquid. So thicken's available for everybody to purchase and thicken anything up. I mean, it's quite incredible to thicken water, but we do. And people take their medications with it even. So that is one product that you might want to go and purchase. Let's say that we want to talk about how can we then, as providers of care, get it to a situation that we can do the best of it and get all the nutrients and the diet that is ordered into the person we're caring for. Let's get the order, from the doctor. Let's talk to the nurse or someone about what kind of diet should this person be on. How many calories does this person need? And how can I get that in a day? How can I arrange that? So a plan is really important. So sitting down with someone and saying, this is when we get up in the morning, this is when we go to bed at night, this is how our day goes, when do we put our meals in there, and how can I arrange them, what needs to be done. So a plan is really important. Knowing your preferences, making sure you're shopping for those. If they need liquids, that you have them. If they need to be thickened, you're ready to do that. And calculating serving sizes that we started out with, how much is enough. So it might be useful if you're not used to doing this, is if you have a scale, food scale, they're about $5-6 in the store. You can actually start to weigh ounces. So you can get a better feeling for how much is a real serving size, how much is 5 ounces. You'll be amazed how small that serving is. It's probably half of what you're used to. And then making sure you have a measuring container for ounces. So that will help you also. If you're asked to or you don't know, it's always a good idea to just get a sheet of paper out and do a week of food history. They say, they come to the doctor and they go, well, how are they eating? And I say, well, pretty good. Some days good, some days bad. Well, okay, pretty good this morning. But it doesn't give us a real good picture. They say, well, how? And they go, I think he's doing all right. Well, if you can keep a history for 7 days, it doesn't have to be fancy, but a time. At 8 o'clock, he ate exactly. At 10 o'clock, we got a snack. At 12:30, we did this. How many glasses of water actually went into this person? That's real helpful. Then we can get a better idea about if maybe part of their health problem isn't due to their diet, and we can do something about that. So having those kind of guidelines. Well, what if they refuse the food that you prepared, and you know their preferences, and you've done all that? You might want to have Plan B in the kitchen. So while you're shopping and being able to prepare, you might say, well, I'm going to offer this, today, but if he doesn't want that, I can do this. And be ready to do substitutes or have leftovers, that you can heat up, or, depending on the ability of the person you're caring for, you could give them choices. That's always nice. But you don't want to go beyond 2. Don't ever say, what do you want? You want to say, you can have, this cereal, you can have oatmeal, or you could have cream of wheat this morning. Either or. And then pick one. And it kind of puts them in a position of saying, what they want. We don't want to open the whole world for them. They'll think of something you don't have, and then you'll be stuck. And again, I use my parents. My mother didn't drive, so if my father said no, and it wasn't in the house, then that was that. It didn't happen because she couldn't go out and get it. So telling them I have this, and either or is very helpful. And so that way they do feel like they haven't lost control over their whole diet, that feeling of just being told what to eat, when to eat, never having choices can get real old, and people get angry with that. And then they'll start to refuse just because they're tired of you having complete control over them. I know that I wouldn't want somebody, it sounds good, have somebody just feed me, but if I didn't get to choose what they fed me, after a while I would be angry at that. So that's one of the first things we can do. Provide a comfortable, enjoyable environment. Again, if you can get them out of bed,